Let's see how it works in the alternative systems. All those countries that I showed you that do not have single-member districts and plurality elections, what do they have? Well, in most of these parliamentary systems, as we call them, they have some variation of what we call a system of proportional representation. Okay? So, basically, again, all kinds of variations on this. Not all parliamentary systems work exactly the same. But the basic idea here is that you have an election. Okay? In some of these countries, voters don't even see the names of candidates. They just see the names of the political parties. Israel would be a good example of that. Okay? So they go to vote for the Likud party or the Yesh Atid party or the Labour party or whatever the political party is. And then based on the percentage of the votes that the party got in the election, they have a proportional number of seats in the parliament, in the legislature. And you can see that there are second place prizes and third place prizes and fourth place prizes. Why? I'm not going to go back to the slides, but why in all those countries do they have so many different political parties with seats in the parliament? Well, because they know that even if they only get a small percentage of the vote, they're still going to have some seats in parliament. That's a powerful incentive to remain separate. Whereas in the American system, if you don't come in first place, you get nothing. So, questions about that?
So why again is it the third party? It has to or already presented in the Senate. So they are supposed to be independent? Or
You're talking about the United States Senate, those two?
Yeah, they do.
I just think Vermont and New Hampshire, Vermont and Maine are unique places in American politics, and their voters are more amenable to the idea of electing somebody who's not a nominee of one of the two major parties. Now, both of those two individuals that we're talking about in the United States Senate are functionally Democrats. They may have been elected as independents, but they function as Democrats. They caucus with the Democratic Party.
So do they actually run up against the Democratic?
They run on the ballot. If you lived in Maine or if you lived in Vermont during a Senate election, and you see the name Angus King on the ballot in Maine, it will say independent. It'll say Angus King independent. It won't say Angus King Republican or Angus King Democrat.
So does a Democrat actually run against them?
Well, sure. Yeah, I mean, they're going to have opponents. Yeah, absolutely. They may have both a Democratic and a Republican opponent. I just don't really pay enough attention to answer that question to say, in the last election, did Angus King have both a Democratic and Republican opponent? I'm pretty sure he must have had at least one of the two. I think my answer to you, Amy, is just there's something different about how voters operate in those states. That's different enough that allows an independent candidate. I can't imagine an independent candidate getting elected in Texas, for example.
You never know.
No, you never know. That's true, but I'm just saying I can't imagine it. I can't imagine an independent candidate for Senate winning an election.
Okay, and those two, let's say, in history time, this is like very rare, correct? That's independent or third
Yes,
party?
very rare.
Yeah, right?
I mean, we've only got 2 out of 535. It's a pretty low probability.
So can we consider this like a start?
Can we
A
continue?
start for change that third
No.
parties or something?
No, I don't think so.
acceptable?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because what I'm trying to tell you, the message that I'm trying to get across to you is that the only thing, look, it's not like we can just wake up one day in the United States and say, you know what, we're tired of the Democratic and Republican parties. We want more choices. Americans do that every election cycle. We're tired of the Democratic Party. We're tired of the Republican. Why can't we have a more credible alternative? But it's not like we can just raise the window and say, oh, it's a new day. We're going to have more choices. Our two-party system is the result of something. It's the result of the kind of electoral system that we have. Now, I'm going to put on top of that the fact that, okay, so it's not very favorable for minor party candidates or third party candidates to get elected. That means that you're going to have in every Congress, in every state legislature around the country, you're going to have overwhelmingly Democrats and Republicans. The people who are in power right now write the election laws. and they're going to write election laws in a way that continue to favor their hold on power. There are some people who will argue that the reason we have a dominant two-party system in the United States is because the Democrats and Republicans have rigged it that way. Well, they have, in a sense, I agree with that. The laws are written in a way that perpetuate this arrangement. What I'm trying to tell you is that it's not because they are like doing something underhanded or whatever, or even necessarily by design. If we want more choices, if we want a multiple party system, we would have to move away from a system of single member districts and plurality elections and adopt something like a system of proportional representation. That's the easiest answer I can give you. Now, if you were to take a survey and ask Americans, randomly sample 1,000 Americans, hey, is there something wrong with our electoral systems? Is what's wrong in American politics that there's something wrong with our electoral systems? You know, like the kinds of arrangements that the Constitution has given us? I think most people's perception is that it's not a problem with the institutional arrangements, it's a problem with the people. We keep trying to reform the kinds of people we get in the system, not the system itself. And my response is, well, you're going to probably continue to be frustrated because people are just people, right? You can't reform human nature. Human nature is human nature. And there's probably really no difference between the nature of American politicians and the nature of politicians in any of these other systems. Not only are politicians alike, whether they're in the United States or Denmark or Israel or any other country, but they're also people. Right? So they have the kind of nature that the rest of us have. Yeah, that may not satisfy you, but I think that's just okay.
I would just